What's going on, guys? Balkan Architect here, and in today's video we're going to be talking about landscape in Revit. But not just any landscape in Revit, we're going to be talking about urban landscape in Revit. So when it comes to working in Revit, there are obviously some tools for generating topography and landscape, and those can sometimes be difficult to use, sometimes they can be easy to use, but when it comes to modeling urban landscape, roads, sidewalks, streets, those can be really tough to get them to do exactly what you want them to do and get them to look exactly how you want them to look. So in this video we're going to be taking a city intersection and we're going to be tackling some of the problems that might arise when you want to model something like this. So the first problem that we're going to be tackling and solving is the problem of adding some slope. So usually when it comes to modeling streets and sidewalks, we would model those as floors. Now the problem with floors is you can't really create much slope with floors, or it can be, well, quite difficult. So in this video we're going to be finding a quick and easy solution to adding some slope, just a slight slope to our sidewalks modeled as floors. Then we're going to be adding some contour lines. Contour lines are usually in Revit, they're just generated automatically on topography, but not on floors. So I'm going to be showing you how to generate these contour lines on floors as well. So we have some contour lines on our sidewalks. Then we're going to be tackling the problem of adding some grass and vegetation. So usually you do want to include some grass inside of your city, but it can be, again, a little bit difficult to add topography. It can be really tough, and I'm going to be showing you actually a couple of approaches. One for adding grass in the city in form of topography, and then the other one where you use just a floor in order to represent that grass inside of your city intersection. And then finally, we're going to be tackling the problem of underground parking and any sort of underground structures, and the fact that it can be really difficult to place something underground in Revit and then have topography above that, but make it all work and also make it look good in sections, which are obviously quite important. Now for all of this, I'm going to be using a specialized plugin that's designed to help you out when it comes to modeling your environment in Revit, your surroundings, your site, and that's the environment plugin. Now, if you're interested in getting this plugin, you can contact your Autodesk reseller, or you can follow the link just below the video. I'm going to include that in the description. And also, please tell me in the comment section below the video. I'm really fascinated when it comes to modeling all different sorts of topography and cityscapes and so on in Revit, and do you have some issues and problems? And also, would you like me to make more videos like this where I show you different workflows when it comes to topography in Revit? Okay, so without any further ado, let's get straight into Revit. And here we are in Revit. So this is the model that I'm going to be using for this demonstration. Here you can see this is kind of a segment of a city. Here we have an intersection, then we have some buildings here, some sidewalks, and so on. So the first thing that you'll notice here is that this street is sloped. Now it does have these contour lines, and also you can see that from the model. Here it's kind of sloped. If I go to perhaps the front elevation or something like that, you can notice that there is a slope to that road. Now in this situation we're going to be taking a look at an example where perhaps you get the road from the road engineer and it's already set up with all of those slopes and all of the correct dimensions and elevations, and now you have to set up the rest of your model to follow that. So we have to set up these sidewalks. See here how we have these gaps which are terrible. Here we have another gap and so on. So I have already set these floors up to certain elevations, so they're kind of there, but we still have to fit them in nicely and make sure that that the sidewalk follows the road perfectly. Now we can do that by going here on the Environment tab, and there on the Model Elements panel, we have the match slope tool. So this tool allows you to match the slope of one floor to an existing sloped floor. So it's just going to follow that existing slope. Here we have the road which is sloped, so we can just make sure that we match the sidewalk. So it's very simple and straightforward. You just go there and you turn the match slope tool on. You're going to get this little menu which kind of escaped on the second screen for me, and it's going to tell you that you should select the target slabs. Now the target slab is the slab that's already sloped that you want to use as the target, and that you want to kind of adapt to. So you're using that as kind of reference. So you just want to come in here and select that. See, just like this, it's going to highlight. You hit apply, and now we have to select the slabs for editing. In this case, that's going to be this slab. We want to adapt this slab to the existing one, so we just select like that, hit apply. It's going to give you some settings here, accuracy, also the match method. Now this is really important, especially in this case. This being a sidewalk, you want the sidewalk to be above the road. So here the match method is going to be the base to top. So the base of the sidewalk is going to be on the top of the street. Now, if it doesn't make sense for you, you can always go here to the show button. It's going to give you a little diagram for all of the options that you have. So we're going with base to top. So this is going to be the sidewalk, the one on top, and then this is going to be the road, the one on the bottom, and that's what we want to have. We can always hide that. Also here we have the related elevation, which basically means just an offset which you can set up. So if you want to go perhaps base to top, but you want to give it just a little bit of like a 5 centimeter offset, you can type that in here, positive or negative. It works both ways. Now I don't really need that, so I'm just going to click OK. And it's going to start its calculations here. See, it's adapting everything. It's adapted the points, the split lines, and this is what we get. So now if you look closely and if you zoom in, see how it's following that perfectly, but it's also following that here through the curve. If I just spin around, see, so on all sides, wherever we look at this, we can see that it's following the that road line perfectly. Now we can do the same thing for the rest of these, and to make it quicker, when I go here to match slope, let's bring this in. So again, I'm just going to select the target as the road, click apply, but then for slabs for editing, I can go and select all 3 of these. So I can do more at once, which is going to save me some time. Again, the settings are going to stay the same, base to top, 0 related elevation, click OK, and then it's going to do some calculations. Obviously, it is going to take just a little bit longer because we have more of these to set up, but as soon as it's done setting up, let's see, there we go. We have kind of adapted all of those. So now everything looks smooth and correct on all sides. The sidewalks look really, really good. And now I do just have to make a couple of modifications here for the for this sidewalk here. So I can go to modify sub elements, and you can make any further modifications. Here I just want to bring this up at perhaps 0.4 meters or 40 centimeters, and then this point I just want to bring up at 0.1 or something like that. So I have kind of a better curve. Now, something that you may have noticed here on the road is the fact that we do have the contour lines. Now, usually in Revit you cannot place contour lines on floors, but we do have a specialized tool on the environment plugin for that, and that's here again on the model elements. Here, see these floor contours? Well, it's pretty self-explanatory. So you just click on that floor contours, and then we can select all 4 floors where we want to include those contours, and then we just simply hit finish. Now here you have just a couple of settings. First one is the contour increment, so at which elevation increments you want to have your contour lines. Here it's just giving us an option to go with 0.2 meters, which is like 20 centimeters, and I think that fits in perfectly in this situation, simply because we don't really have much of a slope. We do have a slight slope, but nothing serious, nothing steep, and if we were to go with anything larger than this, it would probably just give us a couple of lines. So let's go with a smaller increment like this. And then finally here we have the line style, which is just the line style you want to apply. I think it makes sense to go with something like just medium lines, something quite ordinary, and then you can simply click OK. So it is going to do a little bit of a calculation, and now as you can see, those contour lines will appear on our sidewalks as well. And as you can see, it's perfectly kind of fitting in the road. That can kind of illustrate that it is following the curvature of the road perfectly. Also, you can kind of check the elevations of all of these lines by going to the site plan. Here we have the site plan, and then I can go here again on model elements. Here I have check elevation, and I have this by crossing option. So like I can just create like a line like so. It kind of crosses, and as you can see, it's going to give you elevations at each of these contour lines, which is really useful. Okay, let's go back to the 3D view. So we have set up the curvature, but now it's time to add some vegetation, some grass. In this case, you can see that I have already created these openings. So if I just select one of these, see, it says just floor opening cut. So it's just a simple vertical opening on this floor, and actually have it on all 4 of these. And there, obviously, I want to have some grass. For grass, you can use a couple of options. You can either use topography or you can use floors. Now here we do have a problem because of the slope that's already included in this site. If we were just to go with simple topography tool, it would probably take us a lot of time to make sure we set all of the points up, and it would be just very costly in terms of time. So luckily we do have a tool that's going to save us some of that time. So if I just go here again on the environment tab, on the create surface, this allows you to create different kinds of topography or different methods for creating topography, but one of those methods is the surface from edge. So this is going to allow you to just select individual edges that you have on your model, and then it's going to add topography according to those selected edges. It's going to use those as reference for generating topography. Now, this is the menu that you get. Again, it kind of popped up on the second screen for me, so I brought it here. You have the ability to use either whole edges or just one point on the edge on which you click. I'm just going to go with whole edges. You have a height offset option, which is really useful because usually I want grass just to be a little bit below the surface of the sidewalk. So here I'm just going to enter minus 0.05, which is 5 centimeters, or 0.05 meters. And then when I click apply, and if I just come in here, let's see. Okay, surface from edge. Oh, I didn't select the edges. Well, that's a mistake. So let's repeat that. So minus 0.05, and then you want to select the edges. See, just come in here. You can use the tab key to kind of toggle through the edges, and then you can just start selecting these edges, just like that. Now you select as many of them as you need. You're going to notice that you don't really need all of them to create your or to generate your topography. There we go. I think this is more than enough. Perhaps one more here and there. And if you make mistakes at any point, you can just always click and it's just going to get rid of that. So double click is basically an undo. So this is what we have. I can simply now hit apply, and it's going to generate topography there. And if I just switch this to realistic, it's going to appear as grass, as you can see. Let's go back to shaded. And you can simply repeat that wherever you want. So again, if I just come in here and again, just use the same offset and then start clicking here, you can just go all the way around, selecting all of the edges that I need. And this already looks good. As you can see, you don't really need all edges. You just need the kind of the crucial ones, hit apply, and it's done. And obviously at any point you can select this, go into edit surface, and you can make any changes to that surface if that's something that you want to do. So if you want to make it a little bit more interesting, perhaps bring it up or down in the middle, you can just go to edit surface and place some points there in the middle. let's escape out of that. Now, let's say that you want to use a different approach. So one approach to adding grass inside of your city landscape would be to go with just the topography tool. The second option is to use the same tool that we used for roads and the curb or the sidewalk, and that would be to use a floor. Now here, if you go to the architecture tab, if you go to floors, if I just expand this, you can see that they've created a floor that's just grass. So if I just select this, go into edit type, go into edit structure, I just have one layer which is set as bland, and that's all we have. So I've just used that bland material because I think it looks nice. So let's escape out of this. So I just want to show you that I already have that floor created, and now we're just going to be using a tool that's going to allow us to place that floor inside of all of these openings. Now, why do I want to use a specialized tool when I could just go and use backlines? Well, the reason for that is because here we have a sloped topography or sloped floors. So if I were just to create a flat floor, it wouldn't fit in. It would be problematic. It would be really hard to set the height. So by going here on the environment tab and going to model elements, here we have the complete floor, and this is going to, well, it's going to do the same thing as it did here, but it's just going to, instead of using topography, it's going to insert a floor inside of that opening that we have, and we can use that for generating grass. So let me show you how that works. You just go there to complete floor, you select the floor that you want to complete, which is this one. You wait for a few moments to kind of figure things out, and now it's going to display all of the openings inside of that floor. So here, as you can see, it found 4 openings. Now you just want to select the ones you want to use in order to place that grass. You obviously don't want to place it here. This is a fountain. You don't want fountain, or you don't want grass inside of your fountain, so we're just going to leave that one unchecked. You go here and you hit finish, and then you get the complete floor dialog. Now here, I'm just going to set the floor type to grass. Obviously, you can choose any floor type that you already have here in your project. You can set the level, but that doesn't really matter because it's really going to adjust it to the existing floor. So this is more of a just which level is going to be kind of stated when it comes to the on which the floor is hosted. Anyways, here we have the related elevation. So the same thing as with grass, we can add a small offset like 0.05 or 5 centimeters. So just offset a little bit below the floor level. So I'm just going to leave that. You click OK, and then it's going to start generating that those floors, and here we go. Looks perfect. If I just switch here to realistic again, see, now we have that grass. And then you can use the same approach for the rest of these. You can either use topography or you can use floors, and it's just going to be a quick solution for kind of finishing all of this. And then finally, I want to show you one additional trick. Let's go back to shaded to kind of make everything a little bit faster. So here you can notice that we have this kind of parking garage below, and above that parking garage obviously we have some sort of a roof, and then we have, well, we have a gap, and then on top we have this sidewalk. Now that's something that you might see in real life. The problem is when you cut a section through this, or when you create a 3D section like this one, well, we have a gap there, and it's usually not going to be a gap. It's going to be filled out with earth. So let me show you how you can use one of the tools that we have already used, which is the match slope, in order to fix this problem. So what I'm going to do is just select this floor, and then, as you can see, this is just a simple roof. I'm going to go into edit type, and then I'm going to go into structure. Now here we have our main roof material, which is this. It has its thickness, it's perfectly fine, but then I'm just going to go and insert a layer on top of that. We can make it a substrate layer, for example. The thickness doesn't really matter. Let's go with 0.2 meters or 20 centimeters. But then for the material, I'm going to make that one earth. Okay, here we go. So if I just apply earth and then make it variable, so variable thickness, what this is going to allow me to do is, well, see, here now we have a new layer. If I match the slope of this floor to this floor, it's going to stretch that earth layer. So it's just going to fill kind of this gap with earth. And that's usually how this would be built in real life. So that's perfect. So you just want to go here to the match slope tool. Let's bring this over. So we select the target slabs. Now in this case, we do have multiple slabs. It looks like we have only this one, but now when you look at it, we actually have this one and this one and this one. So we have to select all 4 of those because, well, we don't want to have that gap. So now you can just apply that as the target, and then you have the slab for editing, which is this one here, and then you hit apply. Again, it's going to ask you which method you want to use. Now in this case, instead of base to top, you want to use the top to base. So if I show that, top to base, here we go. So this is the one above. This is going to be the one below. That's what we want to see. Related elevation, again, you can set an offset. We don't need it in this case, and we just click OK, and we let Revit do its calculations. And this is the end result. Here you can notice that this is now kind of adapted perfectly, and it's connected perfectly. So it's even in all sides. It connects all the way to that sidewalk, so everything looks as it should. And obviously I have added just the grass and the rest of these sidewalks by using the complete floor tool. And there we go, we have completed our cityscape. Now this would have been okay if it were flat, but that wouldn't be accurate. Now we have managed to add the accuracy of that slope and also make it easy and quick to finish. I hope you have enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions and suggestions, you can leave them in the comment section below. As I said, if you want to check out the environment plugin, you can either contact your Autodesk reseller or follow the link in the description. That concludes this video. Thank you for watching, and I'll be back with another tutorial in a couple of days. Have a nice day.